Welcome back to PH.d TV, and today I'll be going over the top 5 fragrances that I'm pretty sure I'll buy again. Now, if you saw my last video, which I'll link up here somewhere, I went over the top 5 fragrances I will have for life, which means basically as soon as I'm out of those, I will probably go right out and get a replacement, if not already have a backup bottle ready. Whereas this list is gonna be tailored to those that once I run out of it, I'm not gonna be itching at the core to go replace it. But easily if I saw them in a rack store to replace at some point, I'll probably buy it again. Very easily without thought, because I remembered how well they worked to begin with. Therefore, let's get started on this list. First and foremost, F Black by Salvatore Ferragamo. Oh, man, that's a killer balsamic, fragrance. I got this under the inspiration of Jeremy Fragrance. I believe he calls this the Wolf of Wall Street fragrance. To me, I can see where he's getting at. Definitely has that bad boy vibe, while also maintaining a very nice and professional smell. Honestly, that's what it is. It's a bad boy in a suit. So with that being said, it's a nice fragrance. I feel like it's also very versatile, very good for fall, winter, and spring. Definitely cut through the cold winter air. But I even think, in my opinion, works good for summer, just not as much of an application. Just put a few squirts on versus quite a bit. I think the longevity's great, so I know when I purchase it, it will have that going for it. I'm also very aware that the projection is just perfect in my opinion. It's not overly strong, but it's not non-existent at the same time, and it's very well priced. You can find this pretty good. I found this 3.5 ounce for maybe 25 bucks in a Ross at one point. So I know that even when I'm on a bad day, I will be able to get this again. F Black by Salvatore Ferragamo. Now this next one might be a here and there in terms of shocking. Versace the Dreamer. All right, so I bought this on a blind buy as well. I've heard a lot of other YouTubers say that this was great. It was 25 bucks for a 3.5 ounce. I'd never owned a Versace smell before, so I gave it a shot. It was definitely not what I expected the first time I smelled it. In fact, I didn't know if I would like it at all. Especially if you've seen other people say how floral it is. I've even gone on to say that for someone who doesn't have a trained nose, or someone who just, strictly classifies fragrances as being either men or, women, this could come off as a feminine fragrance. But really, if you really think about it, if you could see this and, see a man and smell this, you will see very much how it could be a men's fragrance. And this is not gonna be for everyday use. I don't see this being a signature scent for someone. This to me is an occasion. This is an occasion for a man who wants to wear a suit and stand out. Someone who wants to stand out and just say, you know what? I'm giving a new shot here, something. To me, this has a message. This has something to say, which might incorporate the idea of the word the dreamer. It's a smell that entitles you to think differently about something. It's a very dreamy scent. That's what it comes across as. And it's so calming. It's just a nice calming smell. Get the drift. I could dope on this all day, but long story short, Versace the Dreamer is one I would probably very much easily buy again. And this next one surprised me. I pretty much blind bought this pretty hard thanks to TLTG Reviews, because he was a real big advocate for this house. And the house is English Laundry, and I would definitely buy Signature again. Now, I've heard people say that Signature is definitely not the best one, but it's also definitely not the worst one in all of the line with English Laundry. And I can see what people get with that. I can. But I could also say this scent is probably not one that works for absolutely everybody. But to me, this scent just really works well with me, my skin chemistry, and I feel like it does smell like me. Because, everyone does have the idea of what they smell like. That's how we buy fragrances. We smell fragrances. Not only do we look for what smells good, but we also think about, does that smell like me? I think this smells like me. Klein has a kind of a soapy iris type vibe to it, I believe. And honestly, this was gonna be pretty close to being on one of my top 5 fragrances for life. And the only reason it did not make it to that list was very much because if I ran out of this and a rack store was not carrying it for the $13, $12 range that I found it at, I would not buy this, because if you go on Amazon, it is about $90. And to me, no offense to English Laundry, and it's a great house, great smells, and all the above, but I think you could find similar scents that are way below in the $30 to $40 ranges. But for the $13 range, it is impeccable. It is fantastic. It smells good. And on my skin, I don't know if I've said it in this video, but I know I've said it once before. My skin drinks up fragrances. They don't last on me. I'm typically that type of person who has to reapply after several hours. I get pretty good longevity with this. This lasts long. This lasts a really long time on my skin actually, and just really hangs onto my clothes. And I think this does work for a nice formal occasion as well as a really nice, casual get together. I wore this to a, get together party at the house one time. Did not offend anyone. The English Swiss Laundry signature. And next up on this list is probably gonna be the ultimate summer cheapie, and that's Nautica Voyage. Now to me, this is literally the epitome of if you got $20, you need a fragrance, you run into a rack store, and I'm gonna say every single rack store carries this, Nautica Voyage. It's even the #1 best-selling men's fragrance on Amazon, so there's that too of how freaking good it is. And you find it for in that $16, $20 range, $12 minimum, $20 maximum for a 3.5 ounce. So there you go. You get a high, heavy green apple in the top. It just smells fresh, smells aquatic. It's just, if you don't know what to wear to any event in the summer, just wear this. That's what this is. And honestly, kind of with David off Coolwater in my last video of my top 5 fragrances for life, this could easily have been in my top 5 fragrances for life if it wasn't for the fact that Calvin Klein Eternity Aqua kind of took that slot. But I would easily buy this over and over and over again, and I just know how easy it is to find, and it's generally in that price range, even on Amazon. Literally, just buy this. Literally, I'm gonna say this is the easiest blind buy you could probably do in almost any situation, especially in the summer, heavily in the spring, and even into the late fall before the leaves start falling, you're good to wear this. But as soon as the leaves start falling, just stop wearing it. But for the summer, spring, late, early fall, Nautica Voyage. And then my last one on this list is Calvin Klein Eternity. To me, this is just going back to the ideas of I feel like certain smells smell like me. I think this smells like me potentially the most. With like Jimmy Choo Man, that's a fragrance that I just love, my fiance loves, and I think does smell like a signature scent of mine. It is a fragrance to give me a boost in terms of smell. Same thing applies to everything else on that list, the Blue Day Chanel and things like that. Even a bunch of other ones on this list like F Black and the Dreamer. They're just boosts. Make me smell like one thing or another. It does work with me, does smell like me, but ultimately is there to boost. Whereas I feel like Calvin Klein Eternity, I feel if I had to picture me, I imagine this being what I smell like. This is just one of those fragrances that I feel like we all have that in our opinion. If we had to say, yes, that's my signature scent, but if that had to smell like me, I'd have to say that smelled like me. And as you can see, I put one heck of a punch in that bottle. There's just a certain amount of passion that I have for Calvin Klein Eternity. It's been around for a long time. I know it's not the most, original by now. It might have been the original then at the time, but it's been around for a minute. It's gonna be very common to find. It's very common to find on most people, most things. But to me, it's kind of like that Liz Claiborne Curve reference I made in my top 5 list. There's a certain amount of nostalgia that just kind of sticks with me when I smell that. So therefore, Eternity by Calvin Klein, I'm gonna say when I run out of it, I'm definitely gonna have to get a bigger bottle, but with all my other, for life fragrances, if I needed one of them first, I'd get them first, but I would definitely come back for this guy. And similar to the list that I had before, where I gave this a honorable mention for the fact that easily could have been on this I would buy again list. It got edged out by just maybe one other contender here. I would say it would have to be yet another Salvatore Ferragamo fragrance, and that is Womo Casual Life. To me, this is a great spring and fall time scent. I feel like most people could probably wear this. Probably not everyone, but this is a killer scent. I do feel as if this falls into that Mont Blanc spirit smell and a few others. I know there's one by Creed that smells very similar to this one as well, or this smells very similar to Creed. You get the gist. There's a fragrances that smell just like it. But I have to say, kind of like how I've said with 2 of these in this list that they smell like me, I feel like this is easily one that I strictly like the smell of, one that works well in my skin, works well here and there, but it does not necessarily smell like me, my personality, or you get the gist. This just doesn't scream Philip. This screams like Philip's wearing a fragrance. One that I like, one that I would definitely buy again, hence the honorable mention, but one that doesn't necessarily say it's me. And that's my list. And please check out my top 5 fragrances for life. Find it on my channel. You can watch them now. You could watch them later. It's up to you. And if you did like this, please like down below and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.